How you doing, man?
I'm doing good, doing good. Thank you so much for joining us today at
Yes,
Snubb3d Magazine.
a pleasure, man. An absolute pleasure. I apologize for my slight tardiness, you
Oh,
know.
you fine? We started a little late too, so you
Okay.
good on every.
All right, all good, all good.
Look, you good, you good. I know how it is. One also happy Juneteenth as well.
Thank you. Thank
It's
you.
a day
Yes.
for us today,
Come on, man.
Uh,
Amazing. It's
so
also my 2nd year anniversary of being married as well
okay,
today. Yeah.
congratulations. You just did back to back. You were just hitting it back to back.
Hitting the back to back, man.
I
Down here
get it, I
it is,
get it.
you know,
Right,
so
right. Well, one, like I tell my guests on here, how we do the sit down is generally on most interviews or whatever people may call it. For us, we call it it's just a general
hmm
conversation, how we speak to it, because I think a conversation is more genuine.
Yeah.
Whereas the interview is always, it's just it gets boring sometimes to me as
It's
I
a
do
little
it.
robotic. It's a
Yeah,
little robotic as
exactly,
well. So
exactly.
yeah.
So I'm gonna tell you how we do it. So first, what we do is we don't introduce our guests. We want to make it personal for our guests. So how would you want the world to know who you are? Well, all of us already know who you are,
Right.
but how would you introduce yourself in a space like this?
Um, First of all, hello to everybody, and again, happy Juneteenth to everybody. But I'm just gonna really be simple and introduce myself as, I am an ordinary person that grew up in a small town, and I had dreams just like I'm sure everyone else on this live has some type of thing that they just know they're good at. And I took that dream and I grew that dream and I nurtured that dream. And here I am presenting myself as Jamar Langley, the artist from this small town. I'm a combination of really just success, failures, hard work, disappointments, and wins. That's it. I'm a human person, from small town Andrew, South Carolina. So hello everybody. Hello everybody. How y'all doing?
Got you. What's funny is I don't know if you're the smallest in South Carolina though, because my dad is from a part, and I have
Uh-oh, we
some
got
roots
a
in South
challenger.
Carolina. Now I got some roots in South Carolina now. So and I'm gonna tell you this. So I did some of my school. I did a year at a school in South Carolina.
Okay.
Um, I did it at a small HBCU called
Okay.
Morris College
I
in
went to
Sumter,
Morris
South
College
Carolina.
for 2 years, man.
Okay, and then I transferred into Howard, and then and I finished up at Howard. But my dad is actually he's from Barnwell, Blackville.
Oh, I know. Oh, yeah. It's that small. That is
Yeah,
small.
small day.
That is small, man. Yeah, you're right there.
So
Like,
he's a
yeah.
country boy from, even though that's his roots. But I was like, when I read through everything, I was just sitting there. I was like, yeah, we're gonna have an all right conversation because I
Yes, sir.
already know
Yes,
where
we are. Yes, we
I
are.
already know where it's at.
Yeah, man.
Oh, but let's just go ahead and hop right into it. I want to go back actually to something you said, because a lot of people don't understand that all the things that you stated is basically how success happens. You know
That's
what
it,
I'm
man.
saying? The failure, the heartbreaks, the no's that come into it. I mean, we've seen it on our end at Stub where there have been times where we want to work with certain people and they'll say no to us, and now all of a sudden we're now in our year 4, and all of a sudden we're getting emails like, "Oh, can we work with you now?" It's like, like
There you go.
you're
You
sitting there like,
get
all
it?
right,
Yeah.
well, okay,
Uh-huh.
so you get to that point. So I think that all ties into the success of it. But speaking of success, you were on season 23 of a show that everybody knows of, The Voice, and
Yes.
you were Team Chance, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so let's go back to the moment because did you audition?
Um, no, I didn't audition.
So there goes the
I was
story. Let's start with
invited
that.
to, let's start here. I was actually invited. I was scouted to and asked to audition. So, and I didn't do any audition videos. I just really sent what I had, which was, at the time I'm doing videos on TikTok, your 30-second covers here and there, between TikTok and Instagram. And so I just really sent what I had. And I'm like, man, even though I didn't feel like I was prepared, I was still kind of preparing for something to come. So yeah, man, I just sent them what I had, and from that message, we went to email, and then from the email, we exchanged numbers, And then the next a day or two, I had a briefing and a screening, Zoom call. And next thing you know, man, I'm on a Zoom with like hundreds of other people.
Mm.
It literally happened just that fast. So I didn't have to do any audition videos. I just really sent basically my life's work. All the videos I did, music
Right.
videos, me singing, and it's everything I ever had in that moment. I just sent to them.
I think you touched on something right there. I think a lot of people don't understand about being prepared.
Come on, man.
Because you don't know what spaces you walk into. And I tell my team this, I tell anybody that I've even worked with or some friends that are trying to come up, because I've been in the industry for a while, and I tell them, like, you always need to have something ready. It don't matter what it is on
That's
site. It don't matter, because you never know who you're going to walk up to, or if an opportunity comes to you
man.
immediately at that moment,
That's
you
so
know?
true, man.
So seeing what you've done, you was like, well, you already had your portfolio basically ready to where it
Yes.
was like, let's go for it. Let's see what this offers it brings. And it brought you onto the stage. So what was the moment like when you were getting ready backstage? Because I know how it is to work on a set and behind the scenes how it is, because I think some people think that behind the scenes it's just like that magical moment just happens. They don't understand what TV you have to do for
What
TV.
you have to do
So
for TV, man. For
exactly.
TV. Listen,
Right,
it's
right.
definitely preparation.
Exactly.
So
So
like
what was your mentality when you were getting ready to walk out there and get ready for your moment?
my mentality was to make sure that everything that I'm about shines through, and that I stay original, and that all the practicing and vocal rehearsals that I've done with the song Try Me, that I was doing over and over again, I was like, just trust in my arrangement, trust
Mm,
in my ability, and just go do it, because I know I'm doing a song that, that's it's not popular with the show.
right,
It's not a pop song, or it's not this song that's spinning on the radio right now. It's literally a song that's about 60 years old, maybe 70 now,
right,
somewhere in there, 60, 70 years old. So I'm really going back in time to bring something to 2022, going into 2023. So I already knew all of that was on me. So I was like, you know what? Just perform, Jamar.
right,
Like, perform how you perform. Go up there and sing it. Like, whatever you did in rehearsal, note for note, just do it again.
right.
Just,
And then we had the moment when the buzzers at the end, they turned. There was two
yeah,
people that turned around.
yes,
So
sir.
your decision came down to two different people. So what in your head was playing to choose to
Mm-hmm.
decide, like, you know what, this is who I'll go with. And honestly, you had a country song, right? It was more like a not a country song. It was
It
a
was
country song that I'm
more
trying to.
so. It was literally James
That
Brown.
was it
Try
was
Me.
Jamie. That's right, right.
Yeah.
It was. Yeah, yeah. So what was the moment when both of them turned around? How was your decision made on that you wanted to go with Chan?
Well, previously during some of the recordings, they had the reveal of who the coaches were,
Right,
and I saw Chance up, and I'm like, man, it would be an honor to work with
right.
him. And it was not just because he's a black man, he's for the
You know
culture,
they
but
always
like,
yeah, they
right,
always try to jump
automatically
on
think,
it.
no, that's not it, you guys. So I actually went with him because from a creative aspect, and I'm thinking about my career moving forward as well, like being able to reach out to someone like that that's actively in music, like as we speak.
Right,
And so like I started thinking kind of forward into the future a little bit. So that's really what boiled down to my decision on stage. Because I was seeing it from aspect as, okay, this is Blake's last year, Team Blake.
right,
How cool it would be to be on Team Blake on the last year of him going out. But, will we work together? I don't know. I don't know. It can be possible because anything is possible through my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ.
right,
But I'm thinking, like with Chance, I just feel like creatively we would hit. And I'm
right.
like, man, working with him and being able to send him the music like you spoke about earlier, just the work that I've put in before even coming to the show, just being able to send some of that to him, having that access, having that dialogue, that open conversation moment.
Right.
I thought about all of that, and I chose him because of that reason.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
you when you speak about that, you're saying like you thought about your future thing. A lot of people sometimes when they see those things, we're just thinking about right now.
Yes.
We're thinking about only at this moment what something can be done.
Mm-hmm.
And we do that in life, but even in the industry, we sometimes don't see uh what working with someone can take me further in another aspect. I was watching something the other day on the with the Terrell show,
Mm-hmm.
and Keke Palmer was on there, and she was speaking about how she had two different choices of when she could have worked on the game or she could do the talk show, and she ended up choosing the talk show, but she wanted to go back and speak to them about the game, and by that time it was too late. I think Laura London had picked up
Oh,
that
wow.
role. But when she came back, she ended up, it took her further because she ended up being the youngest female. I think it was the youngest female to end up doing a talk show because she went to GMA,
There
and
you go.
it processed her to get ready for the future and all the things she's accomplished. So you speaking on that is something that many people have to think about, is that, you know what, I can't always just live in the moment,
Yes.
but at the same time, you got to be smart about where you want to take your, you know, it got to be a passion for
Got
you,
to be a passion, man.
you know.
I think through your passion is when you have great decision making. I know for me personally it works. That may not be for everybody, but through my passion for music, I've learned how to like develop patience, perseverance,
Right.
and that led to really making sound decisions in like high level, high intensity moments. So even though I've just sung in front of over 300 people, you have Kelly, Nile, Blake, and Chance all staring at you, and all this happiness going. You know what Blake's pedigree is. You know he done won the show X amount of times. And I'm like, even in that moment, I'm like, you know what? I need to make a decision that could fuel my passion, like that could give me that bread when this is over, because the show isn't going to be for the next 2 years.
Right.
It's just for these next few months. So I just kept all of that in mind. Yeah. So
Definitely. So what, since now that you've been on the show and you've taken this platform now of being on that show, I think a lot of times, sometimes people don't take those moments of them being on the show and start advancing their career, because it's still a step up for you now. Now you have something else to add onto your resumes for you to walk into rooms and be like, no, I'm not no more. Just, yes, you are Jamar at the end of the day, but I'm Jamar from this. You know what I'm saying? It's added more weight to your name. It's like when somebody adds a Grammy, now it's Grammy nominated, or, you know, like it adds more to the bag, if you want to say, that.
Seriously, that's the truth.
So for you, what's the next steps for you, and how are you going forward in your music career? Are you taking it to a music career, or is there another route you want to go with it? What's next for you?
Honestly, the next thing is like just furthering myself in music, because before The Voice, I was working on my project. I was grinding it out before The Voice, before I even had the opportunity. So I'm just right back to kind of doing the same thing, but I've kind of added new flavor to it. Like you said, like the name has changed now. It's not just Jamar Langley, just another artist, talented artist doing something. I've gone on a stage and I've displayed my talent, and not just displayed it, but on a very high level
to the world.
It's in the world, and now
right.
I'm back. And like, although like the grind is the same, it's like the added spices and elements are there now. So it's like now I could really release some music, and I don't care if it's 10 more ears, 5 more ears. That's more than I had before I went to The Voice. You know, like, so I feel my reach is just better. So I'm working on a single that I'm really about to be releasing in the next week or two.
Okay.
And behind that, I probably have another single, and then my project as well. And I'm actually working on a performance in South Carolina, in my hometown. So we're gonna start in Andrews, South Carolina, and I want to take it to like Myrtle Beach, surrounding areas, Charleston, Columbia, and just Florence, hit all those areas, and then kind of come back to Atlanta to do a show. So those are like my plans that are being executed as we speak.
And what have you learned by, different spaces? We learn different things from it. But is there anything that you have taken away from being on that show? There was something that you may have learned that can advance your career in the music entertainment world?
Honestly, the one thing I learned more than anything, and I knew this already, but the show kind of validated to just be you, to be honest. Like whatever you had before that you were doubting, because I know when you're online and you see other people with hundreds of thousands of followers, you see other people performing here, performing there. Some of your friends may get signed to a label and getting distribution deals, and you be in a room with some people, and the next thing you know, they're here, they're on TV. It can kind of make you kind of doubt like what you're doing and what your path is.
Mm-hmm.
But honestly, man, the show just really validated that like I could just be different, man. I could just be the artist that I am. And there is a fan base, there's a family, there's a group of people for me out here too. And eventually, you know, if I'm not so focused on having the most followers and just stay true to the craft, because really the craft is what got me far in the show and got people talking and got people mad when I went home.
Right.
It's just a level of talent. So just stick to it, man. Just be yourself.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that I highly recommend to everybody, and that I've learned about myself through the show. Just be me, you know, and the right people will come.
And I think when you talk about that, I think people a lot of times don't understand the importance of just being yourself, because that's what puts you into the room. It wasn't because you were a carbon copy of something else or someone else. There was something that everybody sees. Like whenever certain people, even when you watch certain interviews or other things, people be like, they had this one quality about them that stuck out to us. And that's why we chose that person. That goes for every single person that's been in this industry. And everybody's story is not, it's not the same. Like it's not, we do have something, we all have a lot of failures that's happened.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we all have a story that needs to be told no matter what. And there's somebody, like you said, there is an audience that is there for us for, you know, some things like that. And I could speak even for us because I used to work with another publication before that and some other things in the industry. When I started this publication, I already had my connections already of where I was, you know, could have done. But in my mind, I was like, this is not going to work without the route that I want to go, because it's like, I don't want to, you know how sometimes you just want to step away from the industry. You know, you want to just be like, you know what, because people understand the nights that you have to sometime wake up in the middle of the night. You got to be at certain locations at a certain time. You don't want to do it. And I think sometimes, like, you have to be chosen for this. You have to and have a passion for it. Because if you don't have a passion for it, you're going to drop out after the first 2 or 3 weeks of if you're really in this industry, you'll be ready to drop out.
Yeah. You know if your passion doesn't fuel like where you're going, get out of here. No time.
And so we ended up making our space, and we was like, you know what, let's just make a space that's a positive media. We see so many things wrong in media or bad media. And we're like, you know what, let's make a space for our community that's a positive aspect. And certain people are like, that's not going to work. That's not going to pull off, because you need to have that daily gossip and you got to have this. And it's like, no. Let's try to see. Right after that COVID hit, we already had shot 4 of our covers. By that time, publications were dropping left and right. There was a reason why we stepped into the room at the right time. You never know when your room, when the doors open up for you, and you got to make room for it.
Yeah.
So by you even saying you just genuinely be yourself, it may not have been like other people you have seen already, but you never know when it's your time. It's your time. No one can stop you from it being your time.
Man, that is,
you know what I'm saying?
That is so.
So you stepped up something in that aspect. Is there any field besides the music world that you want to, you know, venture into it after, you know, once we are going to already speak it, once this really truly takes off, because you're about to make basically a tour yourself? Is there any other route that you're looking at? You know what, this is something, because a lot of us gained other passions during COVID.
Yeah.
We saw we were able to, I think for creatives personally, for me, it was more like a moment to sit down and rewrite some things. Was there anything that you caught yourself like getting involved in that's another route you want to go?
Yeah, I was like, you know what, I would love to get into endorsements for like, because I'm like, okay, I'm a well-kept man, you know what I'm saying? So like, I love to take care of my hair, I love to wash my face, I just love working out, and I'm like, it would be nice to be a part of companies that are doing that kind of stuff, and like, you know, commercials, and just being myself, just acting. I would do a little modeling, just really step into it, into entertainment as a whole, on top of being an artist. Heck, I would even host a game show if I had to, you know, just use my personality in different spaces.
Right.
You know, that personality that only the family sees at the cookouts.
Right.
Most times that's your rehearsal. That's your practice for different tours, you know, like, and so when I really think about my life and like everything that I am, and like who is Jamar as a whole, as a person, I'm like, man, I have many talents, but the gift was music. And I think that gift it's going to open the doors for the other talents that I have
Exactly.
that people could, you know, that can use, that I could use in different spaces.
Definitely.
So like, I'm very open to other things outside of music because it all leads to the same thing.
Definitely. I got three questions left for you because we do a thing on the sit down because we have the number 3 in our name, so we have 3 questions. There's different aspects that go into it, but I'm gonna ask you these 3 things. So the first question that we generally ask is, what's 3 words that best describe who you are as an individual?
I would say the best 3 words that describe me as an individual would be I'm tough, right? I am encouraging. I'm an encouraging person. And the third, and this is tough because there's so many words, right?
Yeah.
And my third, right, I would say I am a humble guy. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm
So
approachable. I try to gap it because there's so many words that popped into my head.
yeah, you good. Sometimes it be throwing people off.
Yeah.
Like, wait, what? Wait.
Yeah, those are the 3 words.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if you could be anybody, past or present, who would you want to be and why? For one day, for 24 hours, you could be one person. Who would you want to be and why?
For 24 hours, who would that be? I think for a day, I would want to be in Prince's shoes for a day. I think Prince had like one of the most unique personalities, man, and musical minds. And I think I would want to see what he was thinking for 24 hours. Like, because, and I could have gone Michael Jackson, I could have gone any of these people,
Right.
but it's just unique mind because when I hear the music and then I see the man, like the Prince that's sitting on stage talking to you, he's calm, he's collected, he's sure, he's certain about himself. I mean, basically, those 3 words I just gave you and more. And it's like, at the same time, his talent, it was just like, it was untouched, man.
Yeah.
It's an untouched sound. And I mean, I would want to take 24 hours to see like what he did. Like, how did you get to that point? How did you become so sure and certain of your sound? You know, I would call it the pre-internet era.
It definitely was.
Seriously, how can I apply to the internet era and like still be this person? Like, man, that dude was incredible. So
I think
yeah,
I think a lot of people don't understand that the pre-internet era and the social media era was a whole different ball game for music
yeah,
world. Like if you, to me, I'm gonna say it anyway. It could get me in trouble. I don't
it's
care.
all.
But I think I just have more respect for when it becomes they give an icon status to them. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Like the
yeah,
work that you had to do stuff out of your trunk. You had to sell CDs. You had
man.
to sell. You had to actually have hard copies and hand them out and go on tour. There was no virtual tours. There was things that were in place that you had to make movement on it. And not saying these artists now aren't.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of a blessing of the way now that media works
Yeah,
and social media works. It could be used to a big advantage, which
yeah.
it has, because it's opened the doors for us to even talk right now
No,
and
for
be
real.
in this
Yeah,
moment,
that's
you
amazing.
know. But I definitely see what you're saying as far as that before, and even with Prince and how he made different things happen. So now that you've been in a major space, a lot of times when we get introduced to spaces or introduced to the world a certain way, we've taken on these roles as becoming role models now
Mm-hmm.
in a bigger
Yep.
aspect. And you may not know, you may do know it, but now someone's looking at you because they can go on the internet now and look you up because they may want to get on The Voice or do other things in this world, and you have become that role model to them. And being from this, the time that you're from,
Yeah.
you have made a major history moment for them as well.
Yes.
And so what do you say to that individual that's like, you know what, I want to get to that space? What do you say to that?
I would say to do what you love with your full heart and do it truthfully. Don't try to cut corners with it because eventually the turns, they run out. You know, like, don't try to cut corners with it. Do it honestly, do it truthfully, and it'll work. I guarantee it'll work. And if you shoot for the stars while doing it honestly, you may not land in the biggest space just yet, but you will see the path of getting there. You know, it'll be more clear than trying to, like, hey, let me do what he's doing. Let me dab. Let me take a piece of this from this personality. Next thing you know, man, you don't want to be lost in someone else's, like, dream and someone
Right.
else's shoes because you're trying to get somewhere fast. Just
Definitely.
do the work and stay true to who you are, and it'll work.
Definitely.
It'll work and at the right time, you will be that professional person. Because I can honestly say, the voice came at a time when I was like, I'm most mature. I already got married. I'm settled into who I am musically. I've written over 200 plus songs. I've been featured. I've been in the studio. I've been in front of cameras on interviews and doing videos. And it came at a time that was perfect because I was super prepared. And that all, honestly, I have to give it up to just not changing who I am and just staying the course.
Definitely. Definitely. Well, Jamar, thank you so much
It's
for
and we vibe.
Jordan. Always look, two Southern gentlemen jumping on and having a whole conversation. So I appreciate it. And anytime you have anything that's going on, definitely have your people reach out to us. We'll definitely support it however possible we can. Let us know. We'll go ahead, put it up, or if we can show up, we'll do that as well. Whatever stories, we got you.
Yes,
So
sir.
whatever it is,
Sounds good, man.
let me know, and we'll get it squared away. But we greatly appreciate it for today. All right, my guy.
Oh man, shout out to Snubb3d Magazine. Great. Y'all better follow these people. I'm telling you, I already see the thing going up. So listen, man, you look like you work hard on your craft. I can see it. You know what I'm saying? So listen, it's been a pleasure, man. For real. Absolute pleasure.
Likewise. All right. We'll be blessed, all right?
Yes, sir, I will, man. Thank you.
All right, no problem. Talk to you later. All right.